We are back with the MMMTG Podcast. As always, we are here with me, Mr. Miles, and my associates. I again, and
Fernley.
We are back after our long hiatus. We came back for episode 1 of season 2. We were super excited about that. And in rare form, we are back very soon. 1 week later, about 1 week, for a little over a week. But anyway, for a Halloween episode today entitled Memory Lane, a perspective on Pioneer. You're like, wow, that doesn't sound like it has anything to do with Halloween. You're right. That name doesn't, but we will have a Halloween treat at the end of this episode. The second segment is going to be Halloween themed, so watch out for that.
I'm scared.
Oh, I'm spooked.
None of us
Majorly
know what it is
spooked right now.
him.
Yeah, that's right. I'm keeping this a surprise for my two associates, I and Fernley. But for right now, we're going to dig right into the intro. So, before we hop on into the news, hippity-hop into the news.
Hopscotch.
Hip-hop-scotch into the news. I'm going to ask you, amazing audience, please check out our new website. We have a blog. It's called MMMTG278.blogspot.com. There'll be a link on the screen, hopefully, if I remember, or in the description. And there's going to be articles that we write. Hopefully all of us individually will get on there soon. Right now there's only an article I've written. Maybe by the time you see this, there's some more. It'll be cool. There's a little introduction to us and our content, and there's going to be posts just showing all our new stuff in case you missed it. Right now there's an article about Pioneer, but if you don't want to read that or you were watching this episode, we're going to be going over a lot of the same stuff in this episode, so do not fret. But there will be new cool stuff there soon. And also, as I always say, please check out The Inventor on YouTube. It is a wonderful show from the channel Screenplay. It stars a wonderful actor named me, Miles. And it also has an amazing spot from my associate. You may know him. Fernley, that's right. Fernley himself is in this show. And we are plugging this show because it has a chance to be funded for a season 2. We made the entire season 1 out of the goodness of our hearts, I suppose. It was more of just something that we were pursuing for fun and something that we like to do. And we're super excited to be given this opportunity to possibly make a season 2, courtesy of the fantasy.network. So we're going to have some links in the description if you want to check it out. Fernie, you want to tell me your experience working on The Inventor?
I got polio.
He had polio, see? Isn't that exciting? Doesn't that make you want to watch this awesome show? But yeah, if you like sci-fi content, if you like sort of the eccentric inventor kind of character, this is the show for you. So you can check us out on the fantasy.network or on YouTube as well, the Screenplay YouTube channel. But beyond that, we're going to hop right into what is known as the news. Leaving a little cue for some music. I put in the music last time. Let me know in the comments if you guys like that or not. You don't have to do anything in your life. Don't let me control you. But right now, there's a little bit of news. Very sad. Sad for some people, happy for some people. Field is dead. Field of the Dead is dead. That is right. The Magic the Gathering card, Field of the Dead, banned in Standard. Boys, what are your opinions on this?
It's double dead.
Wow.
Double tap.
Double tap. Wow. Field Standard double tap. Wow. Did you guys watch Zombieland
Not
double
yet.
tap?
I had to watch Maleficent first.
You have. Okay. Wow. Why? You know what? This is not a movie podcast. Anyway, Field of the Dead. Did you guys play this card? Did you guys interact with this card? What are your thoughts and feelings on the loss of this card to Standard?
I saw games. That's pretty much it, really. I just saw gameplay with it, where it's like people were just running it with Golos. It was very efficient how the deck worked, because all you had to do was really ramp, and then just ramping alone just gets you the bodies on board, which is very interesting, because it's not. I can't think of another strategy that kind of had that in Standard, where it's like you just get bodies just by ramping.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a long time since any deck has been totally based on lands, huh?
Since Landfall,
but that was like the cards were interacting with the lands. This is just like you get the lands out and the lands are making you win. It was like sort of
Yeah.
almost impossible to get through. I think personally, I wasn't a huge fan of the deck because it didn't matter what decks you built, brewed, or played. It was so hard to beat that one. You know what I mean? It was just kind of like a large percentage of the meta, super uninteractive. It's just like stop your opponent from doing stuff, make a bunch of 2/2s really fast with no way to counter it. Boom, you win. I was like, you know what? I want to play some janky stuff. Yeah, so I'm pretty happy that it's gone, honestly. I'm ready to see where the meta goes from here. Hopefully they don't go too, ban happy in the coming months, but we will see. We'll see what's up. You guys got any brews that are going to come up now that the field is gone?
Not really. I had Okos. I dumped my Okos because they spiked like right after the ban because people thought for some reason Oko was gonna be banned, but like why would you ban a new card that just came out? Honestly,
I mean, Oko was like it was a large percentage of the tournaments that came out right before the banning, but it wasn't like it's like so early on, even with Smuggler's Copter when they banned it before, like it took a while. They wanted to make sure that there was no self-correcting, way for the format to heal itself before they go, banning cards that they just printed. And they do that a lot. It's a pretty, I think, positive philosophy that Wizards has is that they'd much rather give the format time to self-correct or try and design it the right way to self-correct before banning anything rather than just banning cards that people just bought because that doesn't feel good. But for right now, I think the banning field was a pretty good move. Got something to say about that, Fernie?
Double dead.
Double dead, yeah.
Double dead.
Next in news. This just in. Beep, 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 beep. In the same ban and restricted announcement, Astrolabe, Arkham's Astrolabe, the card that you may or may not know of, has been banned. Banned in what format? Standard? No. Modern? No. Commander? No. That's right. Everyone's favorite format. Pauper. Pauper's got the first ban that I've seen in quite a while. I don't know too much about the Pauper format. Angel, do you know anything about that?
I didn't really pay attention, but I did hear why it had to be banned because what it allows you to do, it just lets you sites. It's a 1 mana card that just lets you cycle through the deck, and it helps you fix the mana. So you can pretty much try and do multiple colors, so you can kind of, I think it was like 5 colors, or just you can run whatever you wanted. That was like the issue.
Okay, so they made it like way too consistent.
Yeah.
They sort of...
it fixes mana, and then it just like draws you a card.
Yeah, the different brews and all that, the different archetypes are just like, oh, why am I going to play mono green, mono blue, whatever, and I just play any color I want, play the best cards. I'm sure that kind of homogenizes the format a little bit.
Yeah.
Or makes things a little bit too busted. Probably the same reason in the future of this episode, you're going to check out some certain key decisions based on the same philosophy. So you watch out for that. The next bit of news that we have on the chopping block, mystery packs. Hopefully I have a picture of them thrown up right now. They're a mystery. What could they be? Angel, do you have any insights on the mystery booster packs?
I think it's going to be one of the higher end products because towards the beginning of the year, if you remember, they announced that they were going to do 3 different types of products. They were going to do the base standard products, a middle tier product, and then a higher end product.
Okay, so you think that these mystery booster packs that they're claiming that they're going to release are going to be like sort of like a Masters product, but it's a little bit different?
Yeah, well, I mean, they're not going to make it like straight Masters because that would just bring them criticism. They're probably just going to rename it and do something else.
That makes sense. You think the mystery is Masters now? Probably? Or possibly?
Something like that, if anything. I feel like they're just going to be doing a bunch of reprints because now's the best time, especially Christmas season when people are spending a lot of money on gifts.
Do you think it's going to be like, because it says mystery, right? Maybe it's like cards from like all through Magic history or whatever, or do you think maybe it's key reprints for Modern or what? I have no idea. Like, I think they're kind of ambiguous about it.
I think they're just going to hit like it's not going to be, it might be something like Eternal, but the problem is it's the fact because we don't know what it is. It could just be all the cards that they want. They can take a couple, whatever expensive cards they want, they can just take a couple of them from anywhere and just put it in.
What if it was all basic lands? You just get buy this premium.
Sounds like my kind.
I would
just open it up and it's a land pack.
Yeah,
I would feel
all
bad.
different like foil
And
arts.
you're like, dang, this is the worst pack ever, and then you throw it away and you realize, wait, they were guru lands.
I mean, that would be cool, but I mean, if they were just basic lands, I'd feel bad for the people that are doing the draft in November.
Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so I believe one of the things that they announced to you is basically what they did for Iconic Masters. If you don't know what they did, is for Iconic Masters they wanted to do it so like no one knew what was going to be in the set. So what they would do is that you would go there and then people would just pretty much post all the cards online, and then they would just release the whole entire set list on that day pretty much. Because everyone already knows that it went to the convention. So it's probably going to be the same thing, except I guess it's more on a tighter leash this time, what it seems.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of speculation that some of the leaks from previous sets or whatever were, someone, it might have been intentional or whatever, or somewhat pushed because, like, kind of drums up controversy, gets people, but, like, for this one in particular, we still, to right now, since the announcement's on that, we have no idea what it is. So it could be interesting. But maybe by the time I post this, maybe you already know what it is. Something might happen, but for right now, as of recording, like 10/27/19, we have no idea. We're just doing a good job of keeping it a mystery. That seems to be the last bit of news before our little segue, but I think I just remembered something. On the last podcast, we talked about the new specialty product, best product, Ponies the Galloping.
Oh,
did we talk about that?
What is this disgrace?
Ponies the Galloping is like sort of like the STCC promos. There's like very special set, just a few cards that are like whatever, and they did it for Transformers. I think they had some special Transformer cards that you could buy.
that was part of the HasCon thing.
Yeah, so now they have Ponies the Galloping.
I'd like to go back in time.
Wait.
Mm-hmm.
What do you want back in time? What is this?
To the point where we don't talk about this? And we just
Whoa. This is important stuff. The audience,
it's
they want to
not.
hear about My Little Pony
Roll it
magic
back.
cards.
No.
My Little Pony magic cards,
Come
guys.
back to
Ponies
reality.
Galloping. See it in a commander deck near you soon.
No.
If you don't think that's going to happen, you're fooling yourself. You're going to see someone play one of those cards. They're silver boarded, but nobody's going to care. You're going to see it. I'm warning you.
I'm gonna commit depression.
If you ever see...
So I don't know if we can name drop other people, but you remember?
You can name drop firmly, and I and myself.
You can say that guy, that one guy who did that thing.
I was talking to someone, and then because he said that he was very interested in the mats and he wanted to get some, and they were going for like $100 on the Hasbro or something like that.
See, if you thought people didn't want it, you're fooling yourself. Ponies are Galloping. You're gonna see it. You might not want to. You might try not to. But you're going to see it. You're going to see these cards in your LGS at some point.
I'm just talking about the mat. The mat's reselling for $600 already.
The mat, the cards, they're going to be there. You don't want to talk about it? You got to talk about it. This is the harsh, this is the unpretty truth of Magic the Gathering. So you're going to be seeing pony cards in your store very soon.
I'll be back in 30 minutes. I'm going on a strike.
I'm going to strike. I don't want it.
I'm going to strike against this podcast.
It's definitely...
the next set, don't worry, it'll just be Transformers for you.
No.
Transformers again? What if we got you the Transformer cards?
There's only one Transformer card.
I never really watched
I thought they had a little set for them.
No, so when they did the HasCon
Oh, yeah, it had one Transformer and it had a Dungeons and Dragons sword.
I think it was like Sword of Dungeons and Dragons.
Okay.
No. Was it? No, because they had one for Unstable, didn't they? I don't know if it's the same thing then.
They all have a silver border. They look similar, but I don't think that was Unstable. I don't think that was in Unstable. It was probably like a HasCon promo. Comes like a...
No, because I know Sword of Dungeons and Dragons was inside Unstable. I forgot if they had a copy in there too, but they had the Grimace or something like that. Grimace, the one that transformed into a dinosaur. That was like the one Transformer. The other one was the Nerf War.
They have Grimace from McDonald's.
Yes, they have Grimace from McDonald's.
So I get a comeback.
HasCon promos. It's the
Grimace.
little I'm not gonna look up Grimace. What's wrong with you, dude?
You okay?
Yeah, it's a HasCon promos. It's a Sword of Dungeons and Dragons, the Transformer, and Nerf War. Yeah. So we'll be throwing that up as well as the correct information if we got anything wrong. But Ponies the Galloping, I think you could just buy it, right?
Yeah, they're a little pricey though, mainly because it's for charity.
See, there it is. Now you're wondering why would they do such a thing? That's why. So the playmat, it's very. Is it the? I'm looking at the product image. I'm like if I could remember the exact one. Does the mat have the cards on it, or is it just completely black and say that, or what does the mat look like? Oh, there they are. Found it. Oh, it's just got the card arts on it. Okay.
Yeah.
They're out of stock. So they were $100 in the Hasbro Pulse store. And they're being resold for like $600.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Okay.
Whether or not it's actually selling for $600.
That's very true. Very, very true. So you guys, how many playmats are you planning to get? Yeah. Well, anyway, I thought we would let you guys know about that, since it's a pretty fascinating move by Wizards of the Coast.
Charity's charity.
Charity is charity, I guess. So the last bit of news on the docket, Magic's newest format. So when they announced that Field of the Dead and Arkham's Astrolabe were to be banned, there was another announcement at the same time, and everyone was like, "Wow, what is this amazing announcement that they could possibly do to beat Field is Dead is Dead? Field of Dead is dead."
Before you go on, I called it.
Well, yeah, we would like to. Maybe if I could pull up the clip, I'll try and find it. Angel described a format of his, design, very, very similar to this in our podcast last episode. Season 2, episode 1. If you're listening, maybe we'll play the clip right now.
The only reason why Frontier failed too, I think, is just because the fetch lands were in it.
Really?
Because it just made the deck so much more consistent, especially like Jeskai Black.
From what I've heard of people discussing it, there's a specific decks that just solved the format. They're just better. No matter how many sets got entered into Frontier, like the format was just solved. I think it was just a Tarka Red or something like that. So the aggro deck at that time was just too good. The Atarka Red, you just play Temur Battle Rage and the one Delve spell, and then you can auto kill people on turn 3 or 4.
Yeah, but ever since then, that's why you'd have Fatal Pushes in this format too.
That's true.
There's a lot of removal that has just been printed.
Now, literally called this format. Not exactly. I think we were a few sets off, but it was pretty similar. One of the same ideas, yeah. But it was kind of interesting. So that's another reason why, if you haven't before, you weren't doing it before, you should be watching the MMMTG podcast. We got a little bit of fortune telling capabilities. You should fear us. Anyway, Pioneer is Magic's newest format. It is non-rotating, and it starts from Return to Ravnica, and it goes forward. We're going to talk about it, so this is our first segment of the 2 segments of our podcast. The first segment is we're going to be talking about Pioneer and our own historical perspective of it, and then we're going to move on to Halloween. But yeah, that's the news. It's here. Were you guys surprised that they would come out with a format on that day, or that they were coming up with new formats at all?
I did not expect it, but yeah. I had a feeling.
Okay. Fernley, what do you think about the unveiling of Pioneer? What do you think about the name Pioneer?
Pioneer?
Yeah.
I think they just weren't creative enough.
I don't feel like this.
They're what are
describes.
I think they.
Yeah, it's kind of such a weird name.
I think they just heard Frontier. It's okay, how do we rip this off?
Yeah, we don't want to do Frontier, but we want to fix it. But how do we name it something similar? Pioneer, and then they did that, and they didn't realize that what does that mean, right?
So, it's because you're pioneering into the.
Yeah, standard, that makes sense. Modern, that makes sense. Legacy, it's sort of it's like time frame kind of.
Return to Ravnica.
Okay. It's sort of time frame based, the other naming, and this one's just ooh, Pioneer.
It sounds like it should be the other way around. This should be this should just be called Modern now, and Modern should just be called Pioneer or something, or something older, if anything.
This should be called Flashback.
See, that's pretty good. Yeah.
Flashback Contemporary.
Contemporary.
I don't know. Who would actually want
I
to
think
say
people
that
used. I think that was an alternate name for Frontier when it was out. Contemporary or postmodern.
Postmodern.
That's sort of what this is, right? It's postmodern.
Yeah, essentially.
Let's double back.
Yeah. So anyway, we're gonna move into our first segment. Yay! So our first segment is Pioneer, a history lesson. So as we described a little bit in the new segment. Pioneer is Magic's newest non-rotating format. It has this many sets to date. I don't know how many, so I'm going to put it up on the screen. And it is only banning the fetch lands as of now. They're planning to collect some data get some perspectives, and figure out what needs to be banned and what hopefully could be self-corrected. Like Field of the Dead, perhaps. Take a lesson from Standard. But you do have to realize that the format's a little bit more powerful, so there might be some faster decks, some better answers, some more stifles. I don't think Stifle will be very good against Field of the Dead at all. Because, you counter them on
Was that one where, like,
this one?
non-tokens can't enter? Or they get exiled when they enter. Something like that.
It's a creature when... I think it's...
you could just play Virulent Plague. Creature tokens get -2/-2. Dragons of Trickier.
Isn't that only one shot?
No, it's an enchantment.
It's an enchantment?
Yeah, Return of Ravnica.
2/2 or is it 1/1?
There's one called Illness in the Ranks from Return of Ravnica. That's 1/1, and then Virulent Plague is -2/-2. So creature tokens, they're no more. So there are answers. When you expand the format, you get some superior answers. Yes, commit and stop exist. But the whole point of this episode is not to tell you what Pioneer is, although we do tell you what Pioneer is. It's to talk about Pioneer and what we think the future of Pioneer looks like by looking at the past. So Pioneer is not the first quote-unquote new format to ever come in Magic, and as we can tell you in the coming 20 or so minutes, there's been quite a history, at least from the time we started playing, of new formats coming and going, mistakes being made, and reasons to either buy into the hype or not buy into the hype. So before we get hopping into that, you guys have anything to say about Pioneer?
We're going on a cruise, boys.
That's right. It's not banned yet. It's not banned yet. You never know.
I've seen
literally ancestral recall.
I was just looking at some streams, really.
Oh, you've been watching people play? Yeah, I haven't had a chance to take a look yet.
They've been going down the stream?
Have they been going down the
cruise?
Okay, there it is.
Yeah. What I noticed is that there's quite a few combo decks, if anything.
Yeah. I think we're gonna take a little bit. I'm gonna add an effect and do that.
Somebody thought seized you, bro.
Somebody thought seized me, bro. Somebody lost 2 life. Took a card out of my head. We're gonna talk about the format in a little bit on the end after our. We're gonna go in a certain order. So, starting with the past of new formats. Time to take the audience down memory lane. So us as Magic players, and you know a lot of this stuff if you've read our article, Pioneer, the New Frontier, or the New Frontier. We've been playing Magic for, I'm not sure, Angel, how long have you been playing Magic?
So I've been collecting pretty much since I was in the 5th grade.
You were in the 50s, bro.
Yeah, 50s, back in the 50s.
Yeah. Been collecting Magic cards. You had a time machine and you went forward. No, so you've been quite a while, right?
Quite a while.
But you've been playing.
I really started playing more in the tournaments towards probably when BFZ came out.
Okay, so a little bit after that, me and Fernando started doing this kind of stuff.
But I remember I did play against someone where it's like when RTR just came out, so like when Dragon's Maze, because I was buying boxes of that at least.
Okay, well. So you've been playing, I'd say, probably 4 or 5 years in the tournament scene. Fernley and I have been playing for about 6 years now, maybe 7 coming up soon. Timeline's a little bit wonky. Nobody really anticipates playing a lot.
I've been buying cards since we first saw it at the club.
Yeah. But you was in that club. Bottoms up when I buy my Magic cards. Anyway, so we've been around for a little while. I mean, a little while in comparison to the length of Magic's history, not that long, but long enough to have seen the rise and fall in recent memory of quite a few sort of these alternate formats. Because everybody knows Standard, or I guess if you're old enough, you know what type 1. Everybody knows Modern, Legacy, Vintage, and there were a few other things. I think there was it Extended? It was like. A big Standard at one point. They stopped doing that. They had, way back in the day, they had Type 1, they had Type 2. If you want to read up on what all that stuff was, or if you know more than us and you're laughing at us, cool. But we know, before there was quite a few different, random little formats. But in the recent memory, in these past 5 to 6 years, there were quite a few, and I'm not sure what it was, some kind of trend or something like that of these alternate formats people created. The first one that I recall was Tiny Leaders. It's an alternate commander format where people would make these 50 card commander decks, half a commander deck, and you would only play cards CMC 3 or less. And it sounds kind of fun, I guess, and it got people's attention for a little while, and people were making the decks, and everybody was it's just so funny. Like thinking about it is like everyone thought it was going to be so great, and there were all these articles and YouTube videos, blah blah blah, and then later it just went away, faded away. People lost interest. It's like a lot of these alternate formats. It's really hard for them to get off the ground when they're made by random people, not by the company. They're plagued by all kinds of these issues of not banning cards. The format isn't being balanced fast enough, and if it stays stagnant for one way for too long, people aren't having fun. People leave. There's no one to play against when the format is fledgling, and then it dies. So there's when you're making these new formats, there's a very important need for strategical, data analysis, bannings, and not only keeping the hype going, but keeping the format fresh and fun. Because if you're not making the format healthy when it's in its early infancy stage, it's not like Standard where people are willing to wait another year or two for something to come out and then come back to it. Like, if people don't like it, they're just gonna go. So I remember it coming up. I don't know if you guys remember. It went away like just as fast.
Mm-hmm.
Not too long after that, there were a few other little random ones. I talk about it in the article. It's not really a format, but people were doing the flip it or rip it game. It just seemed at the time people were just trying to make up new different ways to play with Magic cards. The flip it or rip it was so stupid. You just get a pack and you shuffle it and you just rip half the cards. That's it. I've seen quite a few perfectly good expensive Magic cards, $70, $80 cards, just get ripped up.
I watched the Expedition Steam Vents being ripped.
Yep. And you know what? There was no winner in that game. Like, you think that I'm not telling you all the rules. That was the rules. There was no betting. There was no winning, losing. It was just you yourself flip the cards and rip them. That's it. There's nothing to it. So there's obviously some sort of desire for Magic players to get away from the stagnant formats that they've been playing with for a long time. Because it's like, Standard's fun, Modern's fun, all that stuff. But you want to, especially when you've been playing Magic for some 6+ years, right? So even when new cards are coming out, you get bored, of course, with anything. You play it for a long time, but you still love it, and you're still going to keep playing, but you desire that sort of change. You want something new to add in to the stuff you're already doing. So you don't want to stop playing Standard and Modern. You want to do something new. So the sort of that feeling sort of came to a head. I could put the information up. It is also in the article. I think it was like 2015 or 16 when this brand new format came out. And this isn't like a new Commander format. There were a few, and there isn't a new way to play with packs like all the mini masters and all that other stuff. This was like a new non-rotating format like Modern and Legacy and all that stuff. And it started from when the new borders were created. I don't know if you don't know. Magic changes its borders all the time. Sometimes the change is a little bit subtle. In 2015, they changed the borders to add a little bit of a curve and also adding the watermarks to the rares. That was in Magic 2015, and there was a new format created, Frontier. I honestly think that was a pretty good name. It's the new Frontier Magic. And it's got, it played off of the new card frames and stuff like that, and it's like, oh, what is Magic going to look like in the future? What is the frontier of Magic? This is the top of it, the new cards. And this format, of all the other ones that were created at that time, took hold like a lot faster, and a lot more people were playing it, and I definitely think that it had the most likelihood of sticking around. It was started at M15, went forward, had no ban list to begin with, so anything from M15 forward, including the Collins fetch lands, including any combos that I had at the time, and all the busted decks that are in Standard, and everybody's favorite Sweet Rhino were not banned. Nothing was banned, and I don't think there was ever a ban list. We can fact check that. I believe there was no oversight because it wasn't created by Wizards. I know they were the first proponents of it, but I'm not sure they were the strict creators. But it was the Haruruya Magic stores in Japan. They were the first ones to sort of bolster the format, and they created the first few tournaments for it, and they were sanctioning it right off the bat. So that was a very big positive thing, I'll say, for the format. The reason that it was able to stick around longer than some of those other ones is there was support for it. Even though it wasn't from Wizards, it was from a real company. It was support right off the bat. There were people making on the deck list. The hype was there, and there was a place for you to actually go. And that format itself was already kind of being balanced, because the format wasn't big enough to be sort of broken. It was just basically standard at the time, so there wasn't too much of a problem. But as it was kept going, the format sort of got essentially solved. So the format became unfun, and there was nobody banning anything. There was nobody collecting the data. There's nobody taking a look at anything, and the hype went away. There was nothing fun about it anymore. Because with standard, even if they're not banned at the time, they weren't banning anything too much. That was actually right around the time they were banning stuff. But that was exactly the thing. They were banning cards that were hurting the formats to make sure people were having a good time, and the decks were changing, and the metagame was diverse. In Frontier, there was no oversight, and then things weren't diverse. And it shows a lot about what these new formats need in order to survive and to take their place amongst these big established formats like Modern and Standard, which they do get sort of non-diverse sometimes when new cards come out, but it always gets corrected. And whether or not the format self-corrects itself, or the company, Wizards, comes in and collects their data carefully and, fixes it for us, at some point it gets fixed, and there's always diversity, and there's always changes, and there's always new and fun stuff for you to do. But Frontier, from then till now, same few decks are still the best. It was like a Tarka Red, things like that. Did you guys played Frontier at the time, right?
I did.
Did you enjoy the format like in the beginning, towards the end?
It kind of got annoying because it's like, it just felt like you just run over whatever you want because there's just 5 color good stuff. Just got black, for example.
Yeah, it's like that was a problem that people had with the standard around that time. It was the same decks were there. 5 color, you have the fetch lands and those Zendikar dual lands, so you're able to have perfect mana and do whatever you wanted in a format that never rotated. The stuff never went away. So I think the idea of a non-rotating format is good, but the sort of their start point was like arbitrary, so there wasn't any consideration for where you were starting. There's like, the card frame changed, of course, there it is, and there wasn't any there's no data collection, there was no bannings, there was no oversight. So obviously, if you're listening and you've played it in recent memory, you probably never heard of Frontier, or if you have been playing for a long time, you probably haven't heard of Frontier in a long time. Wizards was actually, I think that they were taking a close look at the format, but they didn't want to just step in and start taking care of it and controlling it, because if it was already on it kind of having troubles from the beginning with that sort of unbalanced aspect, and if they just stepped in and didn't do the right moves with it because they don't know anything about it, it would look really bad on them. So we don't have 100% positive confirmation, but what I'm pretty sure happened is that they took a step back and are like, we like the idea of this extra non-rotating format. It helps people bridge the gap between Modern and Standard, and it helps you, if you have a bunch of cards from Standard and they rotate, you feel bad because most of them aren't going to go to Modern. Just take it to this new format, Frontier. But you don't want to just claim a format that some random people made with no insight. So they took a step back and they watched to see what the problems were with Frontier and to see what they did right and what they did wrong. And then they took that, they sat on it, and they did their information, and then now, having positively figured out what went wrong and how they could do better, they've come back to us and they submitted Pioneer. So it is a very similar format, but it has a very well thought out start point. It's got a lot of the main threats of the format have really good answers. The format is poised to self-correct itself, and their decision to ban the fetches, I think, was really good, as Angel was saying. You have less access to 5-color whatever decks with no drawback. You actually have to think about it. Plus, the fetch land supposed to shocks, that's modern mana bases, so they would have been even worse. You pretty much do whatever you want, and the format would probably get pretty stinky pretty quickly. And they've said already they're going to sit back, get the first few months of data, and ban accordingly. So they're going to forge the format and create an environment that is not going to get stale, which is why I think that Pioneer has a really good chance of surviving and becoming a really fun and interesting format, and why you should be, looking at the cards that are going to be good for it now as opposed to later when they actually gain value. Do you guys have anything to say about Pioneer versus Frontier and what you think Wizards is doing better versus before?
You have what I said on the first podcast, which I just wanted a format where you just didn't have the fetch lands. It just made decks just do whatever they want. Yeah,
I think you wanted to start at Battle for Zendikar because of the sort of idea change, and I think that their reasoning for doing Return of Ravnica is like stuff like Scavenging Ooze and things like that.
I'm happy
versus
about
the
it.
Khans Delve was like you have a lot of really good answers from around that time versus the new better threats from around this time, and then vice versa. There's this bigger format is like right off the bat. There's a lot of ways for the different decks to self-correct and be good versus each other. So I think that this is a very wise move from Wizards of the Coast to give us the format that everyone was really hyped about before and strategically come at it and make sure that it could grow and survive from its infancy now into the future. And hell, who knows? Maybe in the future we'll get Pioneer Masters sets or supplemental sets or Challenger decks or whatever, because it is a real sanctioned format. We're right off the bat on Magic the Gathering Online. They have tons of tournaments for it already. I believe they're going to do something for Arena at some point. I can't remember. Maybe they don't have plans for it. Maybe they do. And you have to know eventually if they can get off the ground on MTGO, you're going to start seeing it in real life at some point, maybe side events at GPs or whatever. But I'm pretty excited about it. So the next sort of part of this segment after my long story time, sorry to keep you guys out of it for too long. Don't want to make you guys just sit here. But that was sort of the history lesson I wanted to go through. We're going to talk about our hopes for Pioneer. What are your guys' hopes for Pioneer as a format?
We all go on a cruise.
So you're just hoping for everyone to play with Treasure Cruise.
Everybody goes on the cruise. We're all happy, and then we kill each other.
Wow. Sink the ship. Sink it.
Sink
the cruise.
Ban the cruise. Huh?
Don't
So you want
ban
them to
the
ban?
cruise.
You want them to ban cruise? You think it's too powerful?
It's not that. I don't know. Right, not cruise per se. Dig through time maybe. Because right now I was looking at like a lot of streams. A lot of people are just playing with the idea of just combo. Because dig through time, it doesn't matter.
It's 7 cards.
They just look for the other piece of their combo.
What's fascinating is that those delve cards were really powerful at the time because of the fetch lands, but you don't have those anymore. So I think their power level is toned down quite a bit from then till now.
They're a bit down, but still being able
Still good cards.
to do it later in the game still for like 4 mana at least. 4 mana, instant speed, look through the top 7, pick up any 2 cards I want.
Yeah, I mean it's not. I mean at the time it wasn't too bad.
It wasn't as
Treasure
bad.
Cruise is just so nuts, but I guess without too much fetch lands, the only Fabled Passage or whatever, Treasure Cruise is not too bad. But Dig Through Time has a lower delve cost. I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and see.
It's better for me. Because I play creature decks.
Yeah.
They're always removing my stuff. So
I really want to see Rhino. I just want to play with Rhino. That's what I want to get into.
I was watching
hit him with
Absent
the
too.
horn.
It wasn't good.
It wasn't good?
It wasn't good.
Why not?
Combo. Everyone's running it. It's so hard to kill.
Well, as I described in my article, if you guys took a look, in a time when there's so many combos and they're watching for what to ban, I think it's pretty smart to invest in like just a basic mid-range deck that nothing's going to get banned, because it's like, of course there's a lot of combo dice right now, but you know they're going to ban like most of them, right?
Yeah.
Like they're going to get rid of Smuggler's Copter, they're going to get rid of the Saheeli combo, they're going to get rid of Aetherworks Marvel, they're going to get rid of blah blah blah, because it's like all the stuff that they banned back then, it's like they're the problems now. And that's exactly what they're doing. They're sitting back and they're watching the format and seeing what's gross. And then they're going to take it out. And they're going to keep doing that until they get a format that's diverse enough where there are aggro decks that do well, and there are, mid-range decks that do well, and there are, control decks that do well, and then there's a little bit of like combo decks that aren't too powerful. So it's like you shouldn't be like super invested in in the crazy combo decks, because I don't think they're going to be around there for too long.
That's why I made my deck list mid-range with counters.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea.
Red-green creatures that either have haste or can't be targeted, and then blue for counter spells. 1 mana counter spells.
It's like, how do you stop combo? You counter their combo. Boom.
Counter the combo and make sure you can't be targeted. Haha.
You play Dampening Sphere.
You can play what is Orbs? I can't be targeted.
No, what?
Orbs awarded.
I warded you off.
Yeah, that's true. The combo decks I've seen are the Emery. There was an Emery deck that just is pretty much like an eggs deck. Just loops. It just loops artifacts and then just looks for Paradox. No, what was it? Not Paradox. They have Paradox Engine out so that they can
enchantment that burns you every time you.
No, not the enchantment. Aetherflux Reservoir. So they'll just shoot you with Aetherflux.
Because that's. I feel like that's less effective.
There's a Jeskai Sylvan Ascendancy, so they'll just play.
I remember that back in the time in Standard. It was like Sylvan Caryatid, Retraction Helix, and Jeskai Ascendancy.
No. What they do is, you never remember Sylvan Awakening from Dominaria?
Okay, so this is a new combo.
This is a new combo.
Before they actually had a combo with Sylvan Caryatid and Jeskai Ascendancy.
Because apparently they're still, even though Frontier's dead here, it's still alive, so people are still making deck lists. Because one of the content creators I watched, he said that's where he got it from. It's like this list was rotating around still. So it was Sylvan Awakening. You turn all your lands into creatures, and then you just play spells, and you can combo off, and then your lands just get bigger and bigger and bigger because you're constantly netting mana, and then you're making them.
Oh, because attach all your lands, and your lands are creatures. Okay.
And they get +1/+1.
That's pretty good.
I thought of a hideous creation. There's biorhythm in this. There is a biorhythm. It's stapled onto a creature.
Well, what are you gonna board wipe?
I'm gonna board wipe and biorhythm, because you can make your creatures indestructible. So my plan is to board wipe.
So you're gonna play the Shaman of Forgotten Ways. Yeah. You're gonna play Heroic Intervention, something like that.
Something like that.
And then you're gonna play. I don't know. Whatever
it's
board
pretty
wipe.
easy.
Kaya's Wrath.
It doesn't take that much. You can just one side. You can just bounce their board or something. Aetherflux Reservoir or something. Whatever it's called.
Aetherflux was.
Sorry, that's Aether Spout. Sorry. Is that what it's called?
Or a 4-mana Aetherize when they attack or something. That's
Aetherize puts them all back into the hand for 4 mana.
Into the hand for 4
it's
mana.
Like, yeah,
there's a lot of like bounce and just one-sided board removal.
Settle the Wreckage.
Yeah.
Aetherize.
There's the one that was in Standard that bounces all of your opponent's board. It was like 6 mana.
Oh,
yeah,
Rivers Reboot?
Yeah, you can do that. You do stuff like that.
You could play...
Bounce their board, one-sided board.
I know,
stuff
there's...
Like
the decks...
You could play Baral's Expertise. You bounce 3 things, you play something and you play the creature
down. All you have to do is bounce creatures.
Maybe.
And there's probably not going to be that many big creature decks. Unless they're like tokens.
Right now, the Pioneer decks that I see are a bunch of decks running Jeskai Ascendancy to combo off. I know there's the Saheeli decks. There's basically Infinity. Because you pretty much have all the Infinity pieces that just carry over. Because you have Hardened Scales, Walking Ballista, stuff like that.
I saw a few lists for that one. Steel Overseer. And the new Serpent.
Yeah.
Sweep them.
Aggro hasn't been doing that hot. But I think it's just because everyone's just looking through all the... I think it's just all the combo, but at the same time, it's like I feel like aggro will probably come up, especially if combo becomes more of a thing. I saw some guy did like a Soul Flare deck, so they just self-mill. They had like a Zoltapa, Sama.
I remember that card. Everyone thought it was like the best thing at the time.
Yeah, I mean I saw gameplay, but it was disgusting because they swing in for 8 damage. It has Hexproof, Indestructible, Trample, Double Strike.
That's pretty good.
It was hilarious.
The Flare. I don't know. I don't know if that's really the future.
Really
it's not the future. I don't know. It's hilarious though.
What's that?
I feel like I'm gonna be really upset with the start of this because you're gonna second sun, get it back immediately.
I've seen the Second Son control list for that.
Oh.
I've seen quite a few lists, and things are floating around. But I think honestly, right now it's too early to like invest into whatever deck in the format. You gotta wait and you gotta see. This is exactly what Wizards wants. They're waiting and they're looking at all these different gross things. They're gonna wait for the tournament results and they're gonna analyze it. And then after you wait a few months, they're gonna do their key bannings.
Ban all
the cards. They're gonna ban all the cards.
All the infinite combos got.
They're gonna reverse the ban list. All the cards are banned. Fetch lands are in. You have to play just fetch lands.
You have to play with only lands. Everybody has to play main
Whoever's
lands.
dumb enough to fetch loses.
I feel like the two cards.
You can fetch, but it costs 5 life.
But yeah, they're gonna self-correct, and then you come back to this format at that point, or you can test around until now. But when you come back onto this format around that time, you're gonna see what the archetypes are, and we're gonna have a clear image of what the cool decks are, and how much fun you can have with whatever different archetypes.
What I think is, if you got the gross cards, play them. Wait till they get banned, and then play a real deck. Sorry, I was gonna say a regular deck, but I meant a real deck.
Play a real deck.
Play a real deck. Something that people don't just
quit playing combo nerds.
Walk away. Win some tournaments, and then make a real deck.
Make a real deck.
If anything, I feel like Just Guy Ascendancy or Dig Through Time are probably good cards that they're looking at.
To ban?
Yeah.
Yeah, like Just Guy Ascendancy is...
There's a lot of removal for artifacts, though. I mean, enchantments.
It's enchantments, but it's like they only need one turn.
Yeah. True. It's like... And by hitting Just Guy Ascendancy, they hit a lot of combos, I guess.
And then Dig Through Time, I don't know. Dig Through Time just makes it
it's
so
too consistent.
Yeah, it just makes it so that you can
just
find it.
Card.
Yeah,
it depends. With Dig Through Time specifically, it depends how powerful they want to make the format. But they might leave it alone if they could just take out all the combos, and then there's no reason to get rid of it. Because it's before there were combos and stuff, it was mainly like a control card. It's just a really good way for control to get some cards in your end step. And I remember that being pretty good when they had Esper Dragons and things like that, or just that mono blue control deck back in the time. Hold up on your end step, murderous cut your thing. Oh, I didn't want to do that, and I think you didn't do anything. Okay, I'll just dig through time, grab some cards. So I think that dig through time is probably going to be fine, but I guess I really don't know. We have to wait and see. There's a lot of information that needs to come out.
Yeah.
See whatever quote unquote the best deck is, and that goes away. Whatever.
Dig and the Cruise are on the same boat.
Boat?
Dig's on the same boat.
So the ship
they're
is sinking.
They're really good
the
cards. I don't think they'll be as good in this format because can't delve as well. But I'm sure for
you do have a Fabled Passage, but
yeah, stuff like that.
It does. Most of the decks that run it just run a lot of looting effects, so they're running just a bunch of cards that just get them through the deck to begin with. So they're already stocking up the graveyard.
What are the effects they're using?
Like anticipates, ops. I don't think they're actually using ops. Just like removals. So it's like kind of like a deck where it's just trying to control someone. Or just like
that's
stabilize.
how control always is, though. It's like, I'm gonna get rid of your stuff and then I'm gonna draw some cards.
That's why it's like
Sphinx's Rev or something.
It doesn't matter if you can dig through time as fast. It just matters that you can use it to get whatever.
I do apologize for that loud boom. We are in the amazing studio, which happens to be my apartment. The sound insulation, exactly 0. So sorry about that.
Maybe the earthquake.
It was an earthquake. I lied.
We
There's
live in
nothing else
California.
but an earthquake.
That's all that exists in California: fire and earthquakes.
Wow. Anyway.
Spurs.
Yeah, so you guys have any other words on the amazing Pioneer format before we head out?
To mess with people.
I mean, I just have decks that I'm thinking about, but I think that's mainly it. I guess the only thing is I'm gonna make Mill's gonna be a thing. Just you wait.
Disgusting.
Okay.
I'm gonna play with cards that people have not seen in ever. People didn't even know existed when they were in standard.
Which ones?
Any of the Siracs.
You're gonna play Surak. Surak definitely did hide a little bit during con standard. I mean, there was a little bit of teamer every once in a while.
6/6 that enters the battlefield.
Flash 5 mana 6/6.
The Flash 5 mana 6/6 that always killed your Rhino.
People played the 4 mana 5/4.
It was okay. I don't
played
think
in
it was
mono green or whatever.
Yeah, but mono green wasn't as good as
get some haste.
dragons.
What was the card you're talking about? The one that mills you, but you put 2 creatures into play?
Oh, I play Seethian Rin. Also another card nobody's heard of.
There's a good card for sure.
Is what is it? Top 8. Is top 8.
You get 2. Or you get one.
Top 8, you get one. You get one creature, and if you have ferocious, you get 2 creatures.
It's pretty good.
And that will cycle those cards so that you can treasure cruise or something.
It's a graveyard.
Yeah, it's graveyard.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's the whole reason I ran it.
That's
It's cheating out Atarkas and stuff.
I'm waiting for the bannings because I want to play like the fun decks. I want to play Abzan. I want to play Jeskai tokens. I want to play Temur, big creatures, ramps, stuff like that. I want to. Yeah. There's a lot of cool and like I keep naming cons decks, but there are other decks like there was a black green counters deck from the Kaladesh standard that was really fun. There was like a Grixis energy deck, which was really fun. Like I want to go back and revisit some old decks from different standard, but right now there's no room for them because everyone's playing combo. But we'll just wait for Wizards to get rid of that stuff, and then I think the format will be definitely a lot of fun. Or you could just play without those decks amongst yourselves for right now.
I just realized I'm scared to play mill actually, because if I play mill, then they get to actually use their dig through times really quick.
That's true.
Or they could just play Jason and win the game.
That's true.
You have Jace, and you have Sphinx's Tutelage. There's a pretty good mono blue deck for when the combo's gone.
Get infinite mill deck.
So if that's all you guys have on that's our analysis on the Pioneer format.
I denied it.
We denied the analysis. Didn't happen.
Stubbornly denied it.
Stubbornly. Okay. Yeah. So hopefully you guys enjoyed our little walk through memory lane, or my little walk. I guess I kind of just went on my little story piece, or in our insights on Pioneer as a format. Hopefully, if you guys are interested in the format, you'll build a few decks and play around at your local game store.
Hop on the cruise.
But for now, we're gonna move on to something a little bit different.
Oh God.
It's time to get spooky. Second part of this podcast, and if you are jumping around, part 2, the MMMTG Podcast segment 2. That's right, Halloween special. Woo! Welcome to Spooktober, everybody. We're going to be doing a few little activities here, just for fun. I have managed to keep it a secret from my comrades here.
By writing it in his black
By writing it in my little black book, where I keep my rhymes. Because I'm like the Sugar Hill Gang.
Really? Tell us one of your
rhymes.
Whoa. Read us one of your rhymes.
My name is Angel, and I play Magic the Gathering. And I go to the podium, and I start blathering. Because I had a stroke when I went to the podium that I talked about before, bloke. So you better go to the fridge and get me a Coke. That was probably the worst rap
I've ever
of all of history. But that's because I wasn't looking at my little black book where I keep my rhymes. So that was just off top, So that was I was put on a spot there.
Somebody play skull crack.
Somebody skull cracked me after the thought seeds from earlier, and my brain is all over the place. And I didn't have the little black book to save me, so don't blame me for how bad that was.
Next to the band list for the future.
Anyway, we're gonna move into the first part of the Halloween special activities. Woo! So the first part is story time. Gentlemen, I would like you to tell me the spookiest Magic experiences you've ever had. Angel, you can go first. Spookiest Magic story. It could be in a game. It could be in the store playing a game. It could be you buying a card somewhere. What is the spookiest experience you've ever had while playing Magic? Serious, not serious, whatever you want to do. Go.
I think I was playing... I'm trying to think. I was playing Magic or something, I think, and then I was playing back in the Innistrad standard. Hey.
Whoa.
Shadows.
You're scaring me already.
Yeah. I was playing the was it red-blue Spellslinger deck? That was around that time, and I remember I was playing against someone. You probably know his name.
You gotta keep going out.
His name was it started with a G.
Yeah, keep going.
So I played against him, and he was playing the best deck. I think at the time it was I forgot what it was. I think it was band, because I remember I saw blue white something.
Band Coco or something.
Spirits?
Band Coco or band.
Probably Band Coco.
No, not band, because I saw the Angel at the time. Avison, yeah. They were playing.
Sounds like Band Coco.
Indestructible Avison? Yeah, that sounds like Band Coco.
I remember he got really mad because it was just pushing the shit in. Like everything.
Whoa! There might be a little bit of a
That's
censor on that one.
Bad
That was
word.
That ain't even a bad word. It's like a bad phrase. So okay. Anyway, so you were beating him in the game.
Well,
he was getting a little bit tilted, or
I think he got tilted because what happened is everything he played, I would just counter, or I would put it back to his hand, or I would just kill immediately.
It's a little bit of salt.
That
And
sounds like a
you got
regular
pretty salty.
standard game, bro.
Sounds like a regular tournament match.
You ever played Modern?
Oh, I played Modern against people. They got tilted too.
Yeah, okay.
Well, especially when I played.
That's
that
a
money and
spooky-
they didn't get to use the
No,
cards.
well, because it's like he I think he got up to, and he's just like he slammed like the deck against the table.
Dang, I didn't expect that one.
It's like
Yeah,
your
yeah,
average Magic player.
He was like he was
Hey,
like
listen,
he was
I got-
heated.
I got nothing but good things to say about the Magic community. I've never experienced that kind of slamming before, and I do fear.
Doubt.
I do. Well, I don't know. Never had it. But, Fernie, what is your spookiest
My
Magic experience?
Magic
Spookiest experience playing Magic the Gathering.
Spookiest experience. Spookiest experience.
Oh, you're still here. You were stalling for time. I was like, what do you say?
Because there's nothing spooky.
Well, I mean, like, you ever had like a game where you were tensed up because you weren't sure what was going to happen, or maybe you were in the store. Were you in Darkside the one time that the lights went out? Maybe that's kind of spooky.
No.
Okay. Well,
Every time there's an
trying.
outage, I go to Darkside because I'm like, if I'm going anywhere without power, I might as well be
Oh,
here.
spookiest thing, flip it or rip it.
That's pretty sweet. Yeah, you were there. You've
never,
seen that.
I never seen that.
You never saw
I was
the
like,
people
I
play
don't
Flipper
like
Rip
this idiocracy. and I don't
Okay,
like
okay.
it.
Well, so you don't have a spookiest Magic experience?
I mean, there was one time there's this land that makes cultists and it turns into a giant demon.
That's pretty spooky. It's Westville Abbey.
You can play it in
Terrifying.
Pioneer now.
Wow, this is like an advertisement.
Play Pioneer, so I have somebody to play with.
So no spooky experiences at all.
Not really.
Oh, well, okay.
We play Magic in a shop. That's pretty warded off from society, and we played it in a McDonald's.
That's pretty
when we
scary.
first started.
That's
That is
pretty
pretty
scary.
scary with all those homeless people in the world.
Spookiest experience for me, I don't know. Maybe I'll just pick the light story. I think it was during pre-release or something for one of the Magic past few sets, and then I think it was maybe some kind of another one. It wasn't that, but okay. So the lights not only went out, but then I think it was like an emergency breaker went off, but it was like freaking loud. So everybody's in the store, and all of a sudden it's at nighttime, and all of a sudden it gets super dark, and you hear boom! Like, I was like, what was that? And then people were getting up and like walking around, and somebody went over to the box and was like, what? You know, gave me a little bit of a spook and a startle. The other one was a different pre-release, probably the one before that was I keep not remembering which one they are, but remember when the earthquake happened? We had an earthquake, and we had these pictures on the wall at Darkside Games that were like shaking and hitting the wall, and there was like stuff shaking around the table. There's actually a pretty good shake that we got. We weren't sure if we needed to.
I was asleep the entire time.
Because it was a pretty full house, so people weren't sure if they needed to get out or whatever. So I
Not
thought that was a pretty
die.
spooky Magic experience.
I don't think I was there for that. I don't know where it was.
I don't know, but it was definitely a pre-release. People were getting their packs open or whatever, so that was kind of cool.
I'm a really bad Californian. I've never been awake.
I'm a really bad Californian.
I've never been awake during an earthquake. Never been
I
awake.
think I've been woken up by one.
I've
Like, it
never
woke
been.
up and your bed's shaking. You're like, who's shaking my bed? And you like, look around, like, oh, it's a little earthquake, whatever. Go back to
Never
bed.
been awake.
But I don't know. It's kind
I
of
fear
spooky.
the day I'm awake.
Remember that time that you were playing Magic and you opened the pack and the art was so scary that you jumped out of your seat? Like,
No, the only
I
time I
remember
jumped
that.
out of my
That's-
seat when I opened a pack was like when we had those expeditions.
Okay.
That's the only thing I was like,
It's
"Whoa!"
kind of spooky.
That's the opposite. That's
Okay.
a boop.
Give me an on-the-spot spooky themed deck idea. Go. Any format. How about Pioneer?
Pioneer?
Spooky Pioneer deck.
Play Liliana and like Ever After.
Eggs.
Why is eggs spooky?
Do you not remember how?
Never egged at somebody's
played-
house on.
No, it's like the deck eggs because it just takes forever. So you have to sit there through it.
That's not
That sounds like
spooky,
the
this is
Infinite
boring.
Turn Fog deck, man.
Well,
Turbo Fog.
Turbo
that was a
Fog.
deck. That
That
might
was
be a
Turbo
deck
Fog.
in front.
Disgusting.
skeletons. And you could do rats.
You can do rats. You got
Oh, you got the
Piper the
Piper.
Swarm.
Pack
Yeah.
rat.
It's Pack Rat, Piper the Swarm.
Pack rat.
Skeletons. You got Liliana Tribal. Lots of
Bunch of
Lilianas. Zombies. Spooky zombies. Demons. Soul Flayer.
Like cultist land.
Field of the Dead.
Why are you like legitimately spooked by the cultist?
No,
land?
I just like
Keep
it.
talking
It's a
about
good
it.
card.
I
It's a
think
good
Every
card.
time,
Every time somebody
Play
plays
it. Westfall Abbey, Fernie pees himself.
you
away.
6 people that listen
Miles,
to
I
this
think he's a
play that
cultist.
card.
He might be a cultist.
These are cool.
I might be. I'm trying to gather some people for this new format called Pioneer. Would you like to join this?
I actually am going to be playing a different format called Spookaneer.
Spookaneer?
It's the same format.
Only pictures of dragons,
But, yeah.
skeletons, zombies.
Dragons are not that spooky, but yeah,
They're pretty
only
spooky.
spooky stuff.
There's some undead dragons.
What about
Maybe.
mutants?
Mutants? I don't
Mutants?
know. Not Magic's.
Not
Not
Magic
silver
ones aren't that
borders,
spooky.
sorry.
Magic's mutants aren't that spooky.
Experiment
they're
one.
pretty just
What
ugly.
would you do if you just have you seen? Do you remember the Art of Experiment one?
It's like a Uzi bro
Exactly.
coming out of the
Would
ooze.
you, would you not be scared if you just saw that coming toward
That'd
you?
be pretty spooky.
I'd be like, bro, put some clothes on.
I don't think
You're getting
would.
slimy.
What
I'm
if,
gonna go ahead
what
and
if,
doubt.
what if you
Should
saw?
I turn on the lights or
What
do
if
you
you saw
blow?
scavenging news just like outside your door?
I'd be
Okay,
like,
admittedly, a lot of the magical.
I gotta
magic
move out of
creatures-
here. That's gonna eat my plants. No thanks.
Uh,
I ain't mowing the lawn while that's outside.
Okay.
It's eating my
Admittedly,
grass, bro.
a lot of the magic creatures would be
Can
pretty
be
spooky
scary.
if you saw them.
In real life, they probably look completely different, anyways.
I don't think they exist in real life. That's just my. That's
I'm
just
sure
my.
oozes
That's
exist
my
in
expert
real life.
opinion. Do they?
Yes.
Like slugs,
Slugs. Yeah.
Moss.
molds? I don't think those are oozes.
Mold.
Anyway, those are our spooky deck ideas. The next part is you need to design a spooky magic card. Fresh, brand new OC. Make us an OC right now,
Alright.
and I'll make sure it's all photoshopped and put up so your card will be to life. Spooky card, go.
Skeletron,
Okay.
the ghost.
Skeletron the Ghost. So what's the mana cost in Skeletron the Ghost?
It'll cost you. It's gonna be black. Oh, black, white.
You're saying so many things.
Two-
That's the mana cost. Black, white, white. And that's what's going to be at the top.
That's it. It's
Okay,
just
what
like
is the
a-
creature type on this?
Skeleton ghost.
Okay, and what's going on in the art?
I guess he's
He's just laughing.
He's like a skeleton.
he's like
ghost.
he's a ghost that's haunting. He's a skeleton ghost that's haunting a skeleton.
A skeleton.
and the
ghost
skeleton-
is haunting a skeleton.
And
And
the
then
skeleton is
Skeletron
scared.
gets inside of that skeleton, and they become Skeletron. That skeleton becomes
Okay.
the skeleton.
Okay, so that's what's going on in the art. What is the? Is he legendary? I assume.
No.
No, no.
No.
Wait, what?
He's
There's
not
lots of
legendary.
these going around.
He's got like split
Wait,
personalities.
what is
and
the-
They're all different ghosts.
What is the set? Like, where is this from? Is this like a custom, like, MMMTG set, or is this like from somewhere?
We'll do.
This is a
MMTG.
judge
Okay,
promo.
special. Is it
No,
judge
this is a judge
promo?
Judge promo. You know,
Okay,
it's,
so-
instead of Skeletron, let's go Skelephantasm or something.
Skelephantasm. Okay, and what is the power toughness on Skelephantasm?
1-0.
Okay, so you gotta justify that in the text box. So what does the text box read?
When he enters the graveyard, he is put onto the battlefield.
What? Okay.
All Skelephantasms you control get +1/+1 for each Skelephantasm in play.
So it comes out as like a 2/1, and then there's another one. They're both 3/2s,
Yeah.
and that's all it does.
Whenever. Oh, that was pretty scary.
Yeah, that was an extra spook. So what does it do exactly?
Whenever it dies, you get to. Whenever it dies, whenever another one comes into play, you get to bring all of them back into your from graveyard back into play. You can run any number you want.
Sounds
in the deck.
unbeatable.
You have to dance every
Well, I
time
guess
they
the
come
mana
back.
cost is super unrealistic.
Every time they come back from the graveyard, you have to do a dance.
Oh, is this like an uncard?
Yeah,
No,
this is a Jets promo. We've established this.
No. The flavor text will read. We'll read the lyrics for the spooky spirit.
No, it's just dude.
The whole song. The whole song is in the flavor text.
So you have to put that all onto the card.
I'm excited to make this in Photoshop. This is gonna be really hard. I don't know.
We also have to make a Braille version of this.
No, I can't do that.
Just a bunch of dots.
You know what? I'm gonna poke a hole through the card in the back, and that's all you do.
Wow, what a guy.
If you find a magic card that has a hole poked through the back, you know that's what card it is.
Yep.
All right, Fernley, you seem to have done a lot of Angels heavy lifting for him, but either way, it's your turn. Make your own spooky OC magic card. What is the name of this card?
This will be the swamp. The swamp.
Wait, this will be the swamp.
This is the swamp.
That's the name of it. This is the swamp.
This is the swamp.
Why not my swamp?
Is it a land?
It's a basic land.
It's a basic.
It's not a basic land. Sorry, it's a
land.
It's a legendary land.
Legendary land.
Legendary
swamp.
land. Swamp.
It says this is the swamp.
And this is the swamp. That's
Okay.
the flavor text. Nobody wants to live here. And then it's land legendary, and then right next to it is another line of text that says Florida.
Whoa, okay. So it's subtype is Florida.
Yes.
So it's not a swamp.
Florida, and it has two abilities. It can besides.
Wait. What's going on in the art?
What's going on? Art? It's just a swamp with alligators in it,
Okay.
eating people.
Okay. So what is this land?
And a guy in a corner just running.
He's just running.
He's just running.
Okay.
He looks like he has bags of white stuff.
What? What is this?
And it has two abilities. It has one and tap to make a cultist, or three and tap.
Armandal land again.
3 and tap. It becomes a 3/3 alligator creature.
So you like
That
sack
is
it.
a land in addition to its.
It stays as a land.
Yes.
It's a land.
You can either make cultists or you can make the 3/3
What is the
alligator.
flavor? What is the story flavor of this spooky
It's
card?
just Florida.
Don't-
It's just Florida's a spooky place that nobody wants to live in.
I'm at a loss for words. That
Everybody's at a loss in Florida, I'll tell you that.
what?
How about we?
Anybody here is listening from Florida? There's no disrespect towards you. Well, he's
Is it
obviously disrespecting you, but I do not condone such
We
behavior.
can save you.
Oh my god.
Can Miles, I guess I'm assuming you have an idea.
Oh, I haven't made up on purpose. I haven't made up any ideas. This is
Because
all
you
on the spot.
think about
OCs. I'm thinking about Florida.
The cruise
So,
doesn't pass
The
through.
cruise. Okay, boom! You just gave me an idea. Here's my card. It's called, because it's a spooky card, right? It's called the Spook Cruise, and it costs. Guess what? 7 and a blue. And a black because it's spooky. It's Treasure Cruise with a black because it's spooky. It's a blue-black card. Doot, doot. It's the Spooky Cruise, the Spook Cruise, and it is a instant because spooks happen at instant speed. Woo! See, gotcha.
That sounds like it's split second, bro.
Woo! It has split second because it's spooky, and so you can scare your opponents with it. And it's an instant, and it's got a tribal type. Ghost,
Yeah,
obviously, or spirit, whatever. It's spook. No, it's a spirit, tribal spirit instant. And it has delve because delve means caves and caves are spooky. You would have never thought about that, right?
Oh, that's pretty scary.
Yeah, yeah.
What's the art?
And the art is it's like a boat made out of bones,
And it goes doot doot.
and there's a skeleton. And he's got a jug, and it's full of water. And this is the spooky part. He's got a knife too, and he says, "I'm gonna get you." See, that's pretty scary, right? So when you slam the card down, you go, "Ooh, I'm gonna get you." That's what the skeleton is saying.
You draw.
And it says when you cast. The text says when you cast the Spook Cruise. You reveal your hand, and if there are any skeletons, your opponent discards a card. And then it says, draw 3 cards, because card advantage is spooky. And then the flavor text says, one day Fernando went out for a snack in the night.
You flip.
Little
too?
did he know, he'd get a fright.
He got the flip too.
I guess I don't. That's not it.
You'll float
That's
too.
So is the spook cruise going to the swamp?
It might. It
This
might be a
one.
destination. You never know.
And
Oh,
then,
well,
my,
that's
and then,
my-
my, and
the
then my
treasure
skeleton
cruise would
phantasm
That's
are
the-
haunting the
the
skeleton.
Skeleton.
The treasure cruise would never go down there.
This, that was terrible. It's like really bad.
It's supposed to be. It's Florida.
Okay. So we can. I think we didn't actually spend too much time on that at all. If you guys, maybe we'll come back to that if the next segment
Nobody
doesn't take
wants to
too long.
spend time in Florida.
Stop.
Okay.
We're
So
done.
the next segment is to make a spooky, fictional MTG themed kind of campfire story. You know, like a campfire. You know, you're in the camping. You're trying to spook each other around the fire. You know, those kind of stories that you would tell about, like, you know, hand, hook, man, car door, whatever. Instead, let's make the MTG themed one. So let's start with the angel right at the top. You're putting you on the spot. Let's go.
Once upon a time, there was 3 casters and a Fernley
Casters and Fernley. Okay,
Going
Fernley's not a
over-
caster in this story.
going over the MMMTG. When all of a sudden they hear bones rustling into the far distance.
Sound
They
effect.
got closer and closer.
What are you doing?
There's
It's
a
disgusting.
and getting closer.
He's
And
like
then knocking
cracking
on
his
the door.
knuckles without touching them near the mic. Like, this is.
That's all you could hear from the distance. And Miles would say, "What's that?"
What's that?
And as he opened the window, it was an army of skeletons.
Ah! What does this have to do with magic besides that there's casters?
Because it was a skeleton phantasm.
Oh no!
And then we don't know if anyone made it out of there. Rumor has it.
Everyone died in the earth, including you, the listener. You died. In this story.
Every now and then you can still hear them. In the
Stop! No.
Commit merciless eviction.
Commit. Unholy. I don't like it. Anyway, thank you for that story. What's that story called?
The skeleton phantasms and
Okay.
Rise of the skeleton.
Right? sounds like a movie.
I'm gonna head out.
Fernley's out of here.
See you
He's
guys
walking-
next podcast. Whenever that's over. Well, probably Christmas. I don't know.
No, we're trying to get this done every week or so. Fernley, tell us your spooky MTG story. See if you get top revenge.
It's Revenge of the Sith.
Skeleton phantasms.
Okay, let's hear your story.
All right.
I'm ready to get spooked.
Where the setting is,
That doesn't sound like a place.
It's a new plane, bro. It's a new.
Oh, so there's a new plane called Fricker Frick Frick Frick.
Yeah, bro.
Okay.
No. Let's see. What plane are we on? We could be on. What is this screeches going on?
Yeah, some noises. I
So
don't know.
skeleton
Some spooky
Skeleton
stuff is
Phantasm.
happening right
That's
now.
what it was.
MMTG.
Okay, Fernley.
Experience
You're on the
is-
plane of Fricker Frick 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 Frick.
Yes,
What's going on?
You walking down the road, and
Like I am?
yeah, you walking down the road. You, the listener, are walking down the road, and you're just walking down the road, and you realize all the lights are out on the street.
So this plane has roads and streets and lights, but they're not.
Is almost equivalent to our universe here,
Uh-huh.
but not exactly.
Uh-huh.
So you're walking down the street, you notice all the lights go out. You look around, you see a mist roll in.
A mist rolling. Okay.
Roll in. You see rats. You see rats walking around on their
hind legs.
on their hind legs. With little suits on, dressed like men. You notice them all going down into the drains of the sewer.
What?
And once they're gone, you see a trail of blood. You go to investigate down into the sewers, and you follow this trail of blood left by these rats in those suits. And you come to an opening where you see a bunch of rats feasting on Angel.
Whoa! That sounds like a personal attack.
And above those rats feasting on Angel, you see it. A gigantic ooze monster. With the head of a rat.
That's it. That's
What?
all.
Well, it spots you. It spots you, and it starts lurching forward, and it asks you one question: would you like to join the pack?
What? What?
That's it.
What?
That's it.
I can't. We gotta.
I don't know how I feel about his story. I feel attacked.
We might have to take a cut for a second. All right, I gotta be. You know what? Just composure. You know what? I gotta compose
Very
myself.
professional.
This is why. Yeah, you try to be professional. Sometimes you get caught off guard. It went better than I expected. I guess it's time to. Like I said, we have no preparation, so I don't have a story ready. So we're gonna let's OC right off the tongue. Let's roll it off the tongue. I gotta top these two amazing, unparalleled storytelling examples right here. So this one's called The Pack. Let's say segue right off of what you were saying. The Pack, and you're like, okay, so one Halloween night, Angel was in his local game store. Unrelated, not this Angel. Don't worry about it.
An actual Angel.
An actual Angel. No, this is.
They all play Magic. Up there.
Not yet, but so it's this boy named Angel, little lad, spunky young lad of 10 years of age, and he was learning. He's brand new to Magic the Gathering, and he's got nothing to do Halloween night. He's too old, for trick or treating. Who trick or treats at 10 years old? Nobody. So he's like, I'm gonna go to my local game store, and I'm gonna get my pocket change. I'm gonna get my little allowance, and I'm gonna open some booster packs. So he goes to the store, and he shows up at the store, and the lights are out. He's like, why are the lights out? It's supposed to be open. They didn't say they're gonna be closed on Halloween. He's like, I'm gonna go check the door, and he goes to his door, and he realizes that things are a little bit weird. There's nobody around. The street lights are out. The sun has gone down, seemingly a little bit early, but he's not too worried. Probably the power went out, so he goes up to the door and he checks it out, and the gate's down and the door's unlocked. So he's like, well, the power must be out, and I just must not be able to see what's going on. So I'm gonna go into my store. So our little plucky child Angel, on Halloween night, he enters the store. He looks in the store. He's met with silence and noises. Silence and noises.
As the door opens.
He's met by silence, and he goes and he says, hello? Is anybody here? And he's no answer. So he decides that nothing will stop him from spending his pocket change and dollars he found on the ground on his Magic the Gathering booster packs. So he goes... he goes...
You hear the sound of water.
Maybe. He goes to the counter and he says, "Hey, Fernley. This is not this Fernley. It's unrelated. This is the name of the shopkeep." He says, "Hey, Fernley, I would like to buy some booster packs. Are you there? I know the power's out, but I just want some booster packs." He's like, nobody answers. He said, "Well, I figure if I just leave the money here, I'll just take some packs. And I'll just open them, and they'll understand. I'm pretty good friends with the owner." So Angel goes behind the counter real quick and grabs 3 Magic the Gathering booster packs. And he's like, "Man, should I really be opening this? It seems immoral." And he's like, "You know what? It's fine. I left my money. I paid. Just because no one's here doesn't mean anything." And he opens the first pack. He's like, "Oh, crisp sound of booster pack being opened." And in it was nothing. It felt like there was cards. He opened it up and there's nothing in there. He's like, "Wow, what is this? A repack? I accidentally picked it too dark. I was not paying attention." He's like, "Oh, okay, well, whatever. I'll just go grab another one." And he grabs another pack from behind the counter and he goes to open it, and empty again. He's like, what is this? And he's like, what is this? And then all of a sudden, from the front of the store, you hear, ooh, Angel, theft is wrong. He's like, no, but I paid. It's like, you should have waited until you got a receipt. And the spooky ghost was at the front of the store. And Angel's like, oh no, I'm gonna be hit by the spook. And he started running away with his 2 last booster packs, and he comes at the back of the door around the dumpster, and he turns around the corner. He's running away as fast as he can, and then he trips, and his booster packs fall to the side. And he's like, oh no, I gotta grab these and go. And he goes to pick it up, and the booster pack was razor blades, and he cuts his hand, and then he's like, oh no. And the spooky ghost flips around the corner, and it gets close to him, and he realizes that it's the ghost of Gideon, and Gideon was telling him that theft is wrong, and Gideon gets his pommel from his hand or whatever it's called, and he lacerates the little child. And then all of a sudden,
cruise to hell.
And then he's like, oh, you're going to hell, and Erebos is gonna whip you, child. And Angel goes, no, and then he falls all the way to where Erebos is at, and Erebos says, "Ooh, you should never take things before you've confirmed their purchase, child." And then he wakes up. That's right, Angel was asleep the whole time.
On the
Halloween
spook
night,
cruise.
and he's not on a spook cruise. He's actually
On the treasure cruise?
He's actually in a Tesla Model 3, going nowhere.
That's not BMW.
I feel like you have more preparation.
I have no
for that.
preparation.
I felt like
That's why the story went nowhere. The story didn't
It
change.
was just a dream.
Nice.
The story went absolutely
What is
nowhere.
this?
By
That
the
was
way,
a terrible
I
story.
hope if you meant that card you made, I just thought of a better name, Skella Spooks.
Skella Spooks?
Yes, just
Hall of
names.
Spook.
Skella Spooks. Just call them Spooks.
Hall of Spook.
Skella Spooks.
I'm super
Hall
confused.
of Spook.
The Hall of Spook.
Skella Spooks.
Welcome
That's
to
what
the
they
Hall
are
of
now.
Spook,
They're
where all
ghost
the greatest
skeletons.
spooks
Skella Spooks.
Well, anyway.
Spook.
Thank you guys for participating in this
It is spooky
episode of MMMTG, the spooky escapades. And
The
little
spook cruise.
I'm still trying to compose myself after Fernley's story.
Rats have suits, man. What do you
I don't know where you came up with that one. But yeah, thanks for bearing with the randomness and the being put on the spot. But we're clocking in an hour and 20 minutes, which is an hour less than last episode, and I think that it might have been a little bit too long last episode, so I think we're going to start the wrap up.
There's a lot
We're
more
gonna-
content.
I think we need to
Yeah.
shoot for the stars. You need to double it. Double.
Yeah,
this
actually,
episode.
let's just roll it back, and let's just start from the
Just
beginning.
play the
We keep rolling.
intro 6 times.
Let's just keep playing the intro music. It'll-
Do, do,
do. But yeah, so we're going to move to the outro. We're going to say thank you guys for watching. We always do appreciate it. I think we actually had a lot of fun filming the Halloween segment right here, and I hope you guys had fun, or at least were interested in our take on Pioneer. So we appreciate you watching, especially all the way to the end. Check out our new blog, mmmtg278.blogspot.com. We got articles and other posts. You can check us out at mmmtg278 on Instagram for memes and more. It's our number one avenue of reaching the masses. And we're going to have a very interesting project coming up soon. That's right. Us here at MMMTG, plus a few other new associates, which you haven't been exposed to, we're going to be doing a new channel that's in the works. You watch out for that. It's got nothing to do with Magic the Gathering, but it's going to be definitely fascinating, interesting content. So we're going to talk more about that later. But this is our first little nugget of giving you a hook, let you know that new stuff is coming, and I think it's going to be really fascinating and fun content. So, do you guys have anything to say before we head out of this episode of the MMMTG podcast?
Remember to run away if you hear the sound of the Skella Spooks.
And don't forget to cruise.
Oh, don't! Wow. Okay. Bye.
Bye.